Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashtaprayasho Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Bhagavatam Canto 6 Chapter 2 verse 24-25. Ajamilo यथा कर्ण्या दूतानां यमकृष्णयोः धर्मं भागवतं शुद्धं त्रैवेद्यं च गुणाश्रयं भक्तिमान् भगवत्याशु महात्म्यः श्रवणाद्धरेः अनुतापो महानासीत् स्मरतो शुभमात्मनः. After hearing the discourses between the Yamadutas and the Vishnudutas, Ajamila could understand the religious principles that act under the three modes of material nature. These principles are mentioned in the three Vedas. He could also understand the transcendental religious principles which are above the modes of material nature and which concern the relationship between the living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Furthermore, Ajamila heard glorification of the name, fame, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. He thus became a perfectly pure devotee. He could then remember his past sinful activities which he greatly regretted having performed. So he heard about dharma, about paradharma and aparadharma, and also sambandha gnana. So he heard the glorification of the Lord, his name, fame, qualities, pastimes, and thus became perfectly pure devotee. So just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one can become a perfectly pure devotee. He could then remember his past sinful activities, which he greatly regretted. Traigunya Vishya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavajuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasto Nidyoga Kshema Atmavan. The Vedas mainly deal with the subject of the three modes. Rise above these three modes, O Arjuna. Be transcendent to all of them. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So this is the Brahmabhuta stage where one is free from all dualities, Dvandva, and then Niryoga Kshema. Don't worry about yoga and Kshema, gain and safety. So if one can be in this, come to this stage only when they have understood very clearly that they are not the body, that they are spirit soul. So then all these dualities, anxieties for gain and safety are all concerned to the with respect to the body, and then a devotee in that platform, he is not affected by these things. And he can remain established in the self, always remembering that he is not the body, he is the Atma, and rendering devotional service to the Lord. So this is actually the only when we reach this stage will we be able to chant without inattention, right? We chant, our chanting is interrupted today by all these yoga, kshema, all anxieties for gain, safety, dualities, heat, cold, cough, and this, that, and all that. So everything will disturb us, take our mind away from the chanting process. So only when we become free from all these, we can actually chant with full attention. Of course, then that attention keeps on increasing till one develops love of Krishna. When the mind will not go here, anywhere at all, completely established in Krishna. First, we have to be established in self. We should not be established in the body. So first be established in the self, then we'll be established in Krishna. So till we are concerned about all these dualities, gain, safety of this material world, we'll be disturbed. That is Atma Gyan. The Vedic principles certainly prescribe a gradual process for rising to the spiritual platform. But if one remains attached to the Vedic principles, there is no chance of his being elevated to the spiritual life. And Prabhupada is saying gradually Vedic life will bring one to the spiritual platform. But if one remains attached to the vidhis and principles of Vedic life, but don't make any progress, then it's useless. Krishna therefore advised Arjuna to perform devotional service, which is the process of transcendental religion. So the other things are material religion made by humans. Mm, Dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So this is dharmam to bhagavat pranitam. Whatever has been given by Krishna is devotional service. Transcendental portion of devotional service is also confirmed in Bhagavatam. Shavai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje. Bhakti is paradharma, transcendental dharma. It is not material dharma. People generally think that religion should be pursued for material profit. This may be suitable for persons interested in material life, but one who is interested in spiritual life should be attached to paradharma, which is bhakti. Yato bhakti radokshaje. The Bhagavata religion teaches that the Lord and the living entity are eternally related and that the duty of the living entity is to surrender to the Lord. When one is situated on the platform of devotional service, one is freed from the impediments and completely satisfied. Yayatma suprasidati. This is the important part. When will the Atma be pleased, be happy? Ahituki apratihata bhakti. When we do devotion without any motive and when it is uninterrupted. Only then will we experience happiness. Having been elevated to that platform, Ajamila began to lament for his past material activities and glorify the name, fame, form, and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So we have to understand that we have to reach this stage of ahituki apratiyata. So he became a perfectly pure devotee and he regretted his past. Jamila became okay. Oh me paramam kashtam abhud avijitatmanah yena viplavitam brahma vrishalyam jayatatmana. Ajamila said, Alas, being a servant of my senses, how degraded I became. I fell down from my position as a duly qualified Brahmana and begot children in the womb of a prostitute. The men of the higher classes, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, do not beget children in the wombs of lower class women. Therefore, the custom in Vedic society is to examine the horoscopes of a girl and boy being considered for marriage to see whether their combination is suitable. Vedic astrology reveals whether one has been born in the Vipravarna, Kshatriyavarna, Vaishyavarna, Shudravarna. According to the three qualities of material nature, this must be examined because a marriage between a boy of the Vipravarna and the girl of the Shudravarna is incompatible. Married life would be miserable. Consequently, a boy should marry a girl of the same category. Of course, this is Traigunya, a material calculation according to the Vedas. But if the boy and girl are devotees, there need be no such considerations. Of course, this is devotees means pure devotees. Prabhupada is saying, when during his manifest presence, everybody had become so transcendental. But after he left, everybody lost the transcendental position and fell down to lower standards. So it's better that we don't assume that we are overly transcendental and still follow this process of matching horoscopes. Because after all, we are not so transcendental. Prabhupada is saying devotee is transcendental, but we are not so transcendental. And therefore, in a marriage, the boy and girl form a very happy combination. Yeah, but we have seen in ISKCON, boys and girls, people get married thinking, oh, you're devotee, devotee, will not worry about anything else, and then marriage breaks. This is applicable only when both boy and girl are like really on the situated on the spiritual platform. But unfortunately, that's not the case right now. So better follow matchmaking, seeing the horoscopes. धिन्मां विगर्हितं सद्भिर्दुष्कृतं कुलकज्जलं हित्वा बालां सतीं योऽहं सुरापीं Asatim, Agam. So he's thinking about his sinful life. Alas, all condemnation upon me. I acted so sinfully that I degraded my family tradition. Indeed, I gave up my chaste and beautiful young wife to have sexual intercourse with a fallen prostitute, accustomed to drinking wine. All condemnation upon me. This is the mentality of one who is becoming a pure devotee. When one is elevated to the platform of devotional service by the grace of the Lord and the spiritual master, one first regrets his past sinful activities. See, if we don't regret, then that means that we have not really accepted devotional path of devotion seriously. Hmm. We have to regret our uh, past sinful activities. Even if by chance there is some fall down, we have to regret that also. And really sincerely try to make progress. And the sincere regret that we do sincerely, that helps one advance in spiritual life. Vishnu Dutas had given Ajamila the chance to become a pure devotee. The duty of pure devotee is to regret his past sinful activities in illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. Not only should one give up his past bad habits, but he must always regret his past sinful acts. He should give up bad habits and also regret. This is the standard of pure devotion. And we might not come to this standard till we have like impurities and we are, engaging in sinful acts. So, which is important too. We should be away from all that. वृद्धावनाथौ पितरौ नान्यबन्धू तपस्विनौ अहो मयाधुना त्यक्ताौ अकृतघ्नेन नीचवत्. My father and mother were old and had no other son or friend to look after them because I did not care of them. They lived with great difficulty. Alas, like an abominable lower class man, I ungratefully left them in that condition. Unfortunately, people do this today also. According to Vedic civilization, everyone has a responsibility for taking care of brahmanas, old men, women, children, and cows. This is the duty of everyone, especially an upper class person. Because of his association with a prostitute, Ajamila abandoned all his duties. Regretting this, he now considered himself quite fallen. So we have to take care of brahmanas, and in this class also come Vaishnavas, so who have dedicated themselves to the life to Krishna. And then old men, women, which is not just our parents, parents-in-laws, but even other old men, women, children, especially for mothers. Don't think the devotion is more important than taking care of your children and cows. Okay? These are important. सोऽहं व्यक्तं पतिष्यामि नरके भृशदारुणे धर्मघ्ना कामिनो यत्र विन्दन्ति यमयातनाः. It is now clear that as a consequence of such activities, a sinful person like me must be thrown into hellish conditions, and for those who have broken religious principles and must there suffer extreme miseries. So it's very clear he should go to hell. किम्मिदं स्वप्नाहोस्वित् साक्षादृष्टं यहाद्भुतं क्व याथा अद्यते ये मां व्यकर्षन् पाशपाणयः. Was this a dream I saw or was it reality? I saw fearsome men with ropes in their hands coming to arrest me and drag me away. Where have they gone? अतत्ते क्व गथा सिद्धा चत्वारश्चारुदर्शनाः व्यामोचयन्नीयमानं बद्ध्वा पाशैरधो भुवः. And where have those four liberated and very beautiful persons gone who released me from arrest and saved me from being dragged down to the hellish regions? As we have learned from the descriptions in the fifth canto, the hellish planets are situated in the lower portions of this universe. Therefore, they are called Adho Bhuvaha. Ajamila could understand that Yamadutas had come from that region. Devotees who rescue us from this miserable material life, mm, they are also representatives of the Lord. अथापि मे दुर्भगस्य विबुधोत्तमदर्शने भवितव्यं मङ्गलेन येनात्मा मे प्रसीदति. I am certainly most abominable and unfortunate to have merged in an ocean of sinful activities. But nevertheless, because of my previous spiritual activities, I could see these four exalted personalities who came to rescue me. And what was his previous spiritual activities? Taking the name of Narayana. Now I feel exceedingly happy because of their visit. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoi. Association with devotees is recommended by all Shastras because by even a moment of such association, one can receive the seed for all perfection. In the beginning of his life, Ajamila was certainly very pure and he associated with devotees and Brahmanas. Okay, Prabhupada is saying it is this which has helped. Because of that pious activity, even though he was fallen, he was inspired to name his son Narayana. Okay, so because he associated with devotees and Brahmanas, he was certainly very pure and he associated because he was living a perfect Brahmana life. Mm. So even though he was currently fallen, he was inspired to name his son Narayana because of that activity of devotion. Uh, Certainly, this was due to good counsel given from within by the Supreme Person of Godhead. Sarvasya cham hridi sannivishto matta smritir gnanam aponam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The Lord who is situated in everyone's heart is so kind that if one has ever rendered service to him, the Lord never forgets him. So Ajamila was rendering service for his father's devotion, but he rendered service. Lord never forgets him. Thus the Lord from within gave Ajamila the opportunity to name his youngest son Narayana, so that in affection he would constantly call Narayana, Narayana, and thus be saved from the most fearful and dangerous condition at the time of his death. The Lord is so merciful that mm, even without being asked, he gave the benefit. Such is the mercy of Krishna. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. By the mercy of the Guru and Krishna, one receives the seed of bhakti. This association saves the devotee from the greatest fear. In our Krishna conscious movement, we therefore change a devotee's name to a form that reminds him of Vishnu. If at the time of death the devotee can remember his own name, such as Krishna Dasa or Govinda Dasa, he can be saved from the greatest danger. Or we can remember another devotee's name, who is very dear to us, who has helped us so much in our devotion life. That's also fine. Or we can remember Krishna, we can remember Prabhupada, we can remember our Guru. Therefore, the change of names at the time of initiation is essential. The Krishna conscious movement is so meticulous that it gives one a good opportunity to remember Krishna somehow or other. Prabhupada says, somehow or other. Somebody was asking if one becomes too attached to Guru and thinks about Guru at the time of giving up his body, what happens to him? Guru is in Goloka, he will also go to Goloka. Right? So the whole thing is we have to develop attachment to something apart from Maya. That's our only hope. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying there must have been some auspicious acts as a cause for seeing the best of the Devatas, meaning the Vishnu Dutas. One must assume the mercy of some devotee, because without that the seed of bhakti cannot be sown. And because of that mercy, he called his son Narayana. So both of these they is saying is because of some mercy of some devotee. This happened for Ajamila. अन्यथा म्रियमाणस्य नाशुचेर्वृषलीपतेः वैकुण्ठनामग्रहणं जिह्वा वक्तुम् इहार्हति. Were it not for my past devotional service, how could I, a most unclean keeper of a prostitute, have gotten an opportunity to chant the holy name of Vaikuntapati when I was just ready to die? Certainly, it could not have been possible. The name Vaikuntapati, which means the master of the spiritual world, is not different from the name Vaikuntha. Ajamila, who was now a realized soul, could understand that because of his past spiritual activities in devotional service, he had gotten the opportunity to chant the holy name of Vaikuntapati in his horrible condition at the time of death. See, so powerful devotion and service is, how powerful devotees are, how powerful devotee association is. Vachaham kitavah papo brahmagno nirapatrapah vachah narayane tetad bhagavannama mangalam. Ajamila continued, I am a shameless cheater who has killed his Brahminical culture. Indeed, I am a sin personified. Where am I in comparison to the all auspicious chanting of the holy name of Lord Narayana? Those engaged in broadcasting the holy name of Narayana Krishna through the Krishna conscious movement should always consider what our position was before we came and what is it now. We had fallen into abominable lives as meat eaters, drunkards, and woman hunters who performed all kinds of sinful activities. But now we have been given the opportunity to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, we should always appreciate this opportunity. By the grace of the Lord, we are opening many branches, and we should use this good opportunity to chant the holy name of Lord and serve the Supreme Person of Godhead directly. See, you note this directly? Directly means not through karma. Many people think I will serve Krishna through my karma. That's not high class. That's okay. That's acceptable. Karma yoga. But bhakti yoga means direct service. We must be conscious of the difference between our present and past conditions and should always be very careful not to fall from the most exalted life. And this about this directly, somehow there's still a lot of confusion among devotees. They think that they can keep working all their life and still serve the Lord. Yes, it is, but it is not the highest perfection. It means that we still have a desire to work, which means that we are not going to go back to Krishna. If we have desire to work, we should have our life should be such that we are like burning, in frustration. If we are not able to do devotion every moment of our life, that should be our state. And hopeless and inevitably, if we have to work to maintain our family, etc., we should just think, okay, Krishna, I'm waiting for your mercy to get me out of this situation. Not that, okay, fine, Krishna is making me work, so let me work as many years as possible. No, heart should be like every moment should be directly devotional service. Why indirect? Okay, otherwise, we should become like those disciples of Srila Prabhupada who used to go to work, come and give the whole money to Prabhupada, saying that Prabhupada, this is my salary. Okay, then go and work for Krishna. That is devotional service, not working, earning money, saving, even beyond our time for doing for doing karma. So karma is not our path to achieving Krishna. Please understand that. We should not be under this illusion. Karma is not going to take us to Krishna. Bhakti is going to take us to Krishna. Karma Mishra Bhakti is not going to take us to Krishna. Kevala Bhakti is going to take us to Krishna. Karma is Bhakti is there and karma is there. That's not going to take us to Krishna. Only Kevala Bhakti is going to take us to Krishna. So we have to be clear about it. And we can keep desiring. We can keep praying to Krishna saying that, please, it's in your hands. Do something. I want to get out of this mess. सोऽहं तथा यतिष्यामि यथ चित्तेन्द्रियानिलः यथा न भूय आत्मानं मन्दे तमसि मज्जये. I'm such a sinful person, but since I have now gotten this opportunity, I must completely control my mind. Now see, he was a fallen soul for all these years, but now he became, by the mercy of Krishna, he now realized, saying that he became determined. I must completely control my mind, life, and senses, and always engage in devotional service, so that I may not fall again into the deep darkness and ignorance of material life. See, because he had a very, very, uh, you know, situation which really woke him up completely. In our life, we don't face such situations. If we face such situations, we will wake up. We'll certainly wake up. And I've seen so many devotees actually saying that, I had such difficulties, such grave situations in my life that I really realized that I should not waste my time anymore. So either we can hear from such devotees and learn, or we can pray to Krishna like Parikshit did. Parikshit did, let me have this, whatever for this mistake, let me suffer so that I will not repeat it again. And he says that will become the cause for my detachment from my house and kingdom. Of course, he was telling it to us. He was never attached. He was such a great devotee. But somehow we have to become serious about this. So that we don't fall again into this dark and deep darkness of material life. So Prabhupada is saying, every one of us should have this determination. We have been elevated to an exalted position by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And if you remember that this is a great opportunity and pray to Krishna, that will not fall, our lives will be successful. So this should be our prayer. Every day chanting, this is what we should pray. Let me make progress, let me not go down. So please remember this. We need this determination. Without this determination, You see, everything we have done, even on the material platform, is with great determination. Same determination we have to bring it to devotion and not be lukewarm, saying, okay, I will do this also, that also, best effort I will do. Yeah, but that best effort is not good enough. Mm. So, like I was saying, it's only by if we actually associate properly with Srila Prabhupada. See here, his statements will be like this. Can anybody who associates seriously with Prabhupada's books, can he think of anything below achieving perfection in this life? He cannot, because Prabhupada doesn't want us to come back again. Prabhupada wants us to perfect our life in one lifetime, especially in his books. That's his message. Mm. So we have to very sincerely associate with Prabhupada through his books. What more powerful association can we get than this? Most powerful, life changing. विमुच्यातम् इमं बन्धम् अविद्याकामकर्मजं सर्वभूतसुहृच्छान्तो मैत्रः करुण आत्मवान् मोचये ग्रस्तमात्मानं योषिन्मय्यात्ममायया विक्रीडितो ययैवाहं क्रीडा मृग इवाधमः. Because of identifying oneself with the body, one is subjected to desires for sense gratification. And thus, one engages in many different types of pious and impious action. This is what constitutes material bondage. So, what is the reason for this? One identifies oneself with the body. Now I shall disentangle myself from my material bondage, which has been caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead's Maya in the form of a woman. Being a most fallen soul, I was victimized by the Maya energy and have become like a dancing dog led around by a woman's hand. Now I shall give up all lusty desires and free myself from this illusion. I shall become a merciful, well-wishing friend to all living entities and always absorb myself in Krishna consciousness. See, either we can remain attached to Maya, or we can become an merciful, well-wishing friend to all living entities and absorb ourselves in Krishna consciousness. We can decide what we want. It's our free will. This should be the standard of determination for all Krishna conscious persons. A Krishna conscious person should free himself from the clutches of Maya, and he should also be compassionate to all others suffering. The activities of Krishna conscious movement are meant not only for oneself but for others also. This is the perfection of Krishna consciousness. And please remember, when we give Krishna to others, we get more Krishna. We don't lose Krishna. The more we give Krishna to others, the more we get Krishna. One who is interested in his own salvation is not as advanced in Krishna consciousness as one who feels compassion for others and therefore propagates the Krishna consciousness movement. And for this, we don't have to be some big preacher, right? There's so many great souls in ISKCON who are preaching to thousands and lakhs of people. We might be very small. Doesn't matter. Maybe we can talk to one person only, 5 people, 10 people. Let's do that. That's all whatever our capability is there, that's fine. We can utilize that also. But the important thing is somehow we have to propagate. Or we can't talk to anybody, no problem. Just give book. Somehow we have to feel compassion for others. Such an advanced devotee will never fall down, for Krishna will give him special protection. See, please note this. And today we might be thinking, oh, okay, why this fall down, fall down? I am not doing any sinful activities. I'm doing bhakti. Mm, Why all this discussion? Because we don't know when Maya will attack. And we don't know when our previous vasanas will suddenly wake up. We don't know. Right? And I've seen many devotees actually go through, many years. It's almost like Vaikuntha. And suddenly, one phase will come up wherein suddenly all the, deep darkness deep within will come out. And then we need that special protection of Krishna. And of course, that is just the cleaning process. Possibly what all the dark things that are there in the heart are just coming out, and the devotee will become pure after that. But when that darkness comes out, it's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. Experienced myself, I've seen other devotees going through this, and it's very difficult. So we better equip ourselves when things are going fine, when we are in those initial years of Krishna consciousness, when A lot of enthusiasm is there. We see also positive changes in ourselves, and we are enthusiastic. We better do good Krishna consciousness, practice, preach, and like get that insurance from Krishna, saying, okay, in the future Krishna will protect me, even if by chance situations arise that might cause my fall down. And who should be concerned about this? Especially devotees who are more in rajas and tamas, especially because things will come up later. Things will come up. It's like, when you have to clean first, things have to come up to the surface and then only go out. And so the cleaning process happening every day, so those things will come up. Initially, because of that initial enthusiasm, everything is just like, that enthusiasm is so much that we don't realize, but things are there inside. Dirt is there. Dirt has to come out. So those who are predominantly, their life so far has been in the mode of passion and ignorance, be very careful. Sattva-guna devotees are safe. uh, Pretty much. I mean, they should not take it for granted, but pretty much they are safe. That is the sum and substance of the Krishna conscious movement. Everyone is like a play toy in the hands of Maya and is acting as she moves him. One should come to Krishna consciousness to release oneself and also to release others. Mm. Prabhupada doesn't lose the opportunity to, bring us to the platform of doing benefit to others, welfare for others. Mamaham dehadau hitva mityartha धास्ये mano bhagavati shuddham tat kirtanadibihi. Simply because I chanted the holy name of the Lord in the association of devotees, my heart is now becoming purified. Therefore, I shall not fall victim again to the false lures of material sense gratification. Now that I have become fixed in the absolute truth, henceforward I shall not identify myself with the body. I shall give up the false conceptions of I and mine and fix my mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. See, we should also just maybe by heart this verse. So we should also stop. Mama aham iti dehadau. This aham and mama, we'll also give up this misidentification of aham and mama and fix hitva amithya artha dihi matim dasye. I shall engage my dhi, my consciousness, my mati, my attitude, my mana, where Bhagavati on the Supreme Lord. How a living entity becomes a victim of the material condition is lucidly explained in this verse. The beginning is to misidentify the body as oneself. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita begins with the spiritual instruction that one is not the body. This consciousness can be possible only if one chants the holy name of Krishna and always keeps oneself in the association of devotees. See, please note this. Actually, while this might seem like a very regular thing that we are all doing, but uh, it's only this association which is going to save us. We have to keep good association. This is the secret of success. See, Prabhupada is saying this is the secret of success. Chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but more importantly, we have to do bhakti in the association of devotees. Therefore, we stress that one should chant the holy name and keep oneself from contaminations of this material world, especially contaminations of lusty desires for illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, gambling. With determination, one should vow to follow these principles and thus be saved from the miserable condition of material existence. The first necessity is to become freed from the bodily concept of life. Actually, each of these we've been discussing, but we can go on discussing. We keep forgetting ourselves. Every time we hear, we just forget. Iti jatasu nirveda vedah kshanah sangena sadhushu ganga dwaram upe yaya mukta sarvanubandhanaha. Because of a moment's association with devotees, the Vishnu Dutas, Ajamila detached himself from the material conception of life with determination. Thus, freed from all material attraction, immediately started for Hardwar. So, this is the power of pure devotee association. The Mukta Sarvanubandhanaha indicates that after this incident, Ajamila, not caring for his wife and children, went straight to Hardwar for further advancement in spiritual life. Our Krishna conscious movement now has centers in Vrindavan and Navadvip, so that those who want to live a retired life, whether they be devotees or not, can go there and with determination give up the bodily concept of life. But yeah, nowadays this is also becoming very difficult. In Vrindavan and Navadvip also, we are unfortunately having to experience material, lot of too much of bodily conception. So we have to be very careful. One is welcome to live in those holy places for the rest of his life in order to achieve the highest success by a very simple method of chanting the holy name and taking prasada. Thus, one may return home back to Godhead. We do not have a center in Hardwar, but Vrindavan and Sridham Mayapur are better for devotees than any other places. The Chaitanya Chandrodaya temple offers one a good opportunity to associate with devotees. Let us all take advantage of this opportunity. So one has to become free from attachment to wife and children at some point in life. Otherwise, there's no hope. स तस्मिन् देव सदना आसीनो योगमास्थितः प्रत्याहृतेन्द्रियग्रामो युयोज मन atmani. In Hardwar, Ajamila took shelter at a Vishnu temple where he executed the process of bhakti yoga. He controlled his senses and fully applied his mind in the service of the Lord. The devotees who have joined the Krishna consciousness movement may live comfortably in our many temples and engage in devotional service of the Lord. Thus, they can control the mind and senses and achieve the highest success in life. This is the process descending from time immemorial, learning from the life of Ajamila. We should vow with determination to do what is necessary to follow this path. ततो गुणेभ्यात्मानं विजुज्यात्मा वियुज्यात्मा समाधिना युयुझे भगवद्धाम्नि ब्रह्मण्यनुभवात्मनि. Ajamila fully engaged in devotional service, thus he detached his mind from the process of sense gratification and became fully absorbed in thinking of the form of the Lord. If one worships the deity in the temple, one's mind will naturally be absorbed in the thought of the Lord and his form. There is no distinction between the form of the Lord and the Lord himself. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga is the most easy system of yoga. Yogis try to concentrate their minds upon the form of the Super Soul, Vishnu, within the heart. But the same objective is easily achieved when one's mind is absorbed in the deity worshipped in the temple. In every temple, there is a transcendental form of the Lord, and one may easily think of this form. By seeing the form during Aarti, by offering bhoga, and by constantly thinking of the form of the deity, one becomes a first class yogi. Now, the only thing is don't mix it up with chanting, that's all. Chanting is a more powerful process. But seeing the form of the Lord is also non different, but it is not going to give us the complete perfection. And also, this is also possible only when we actually make further progress, right? When our mind is not disturbed. But chanting will work even when our mind is little disturbed. Mm. So we have to always remember that, yeah, other times, we can sit and concentrate on the form of the Lord. But during chanting, let's concentrate on the name because that's also non-different. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana. Sadhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo matah. Of all yogis who always abides in me, meaning always thinks about Krishna with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. But this is about those who are worshipping in transcendental loving service. The first class yogi is he who controls his senses and detaches himself from material activities by always thinking of the form of the Lord. See, the important thing here is that we have to try this, isn't it? This is in our hands. Detach ourselves from material activities. Now, first, activities have to be stopped, then thoughts will stop. So this is very important. See, that's why this Vanaprastha is important because in Vanaprastha, first thing, activities will stop. And once activities stop, then only thoughts can stop. Or we have so much spiritual activities that we automatically stop thinking of material activities. But that's not so easy. It can be done for a few years, but ideally the material activities have to stop so that material thoughts will stop. And just stopping material activities and not increasing spiritual activities will also not help. So that to the proportion we are decreasing material activities, we have to keep increasing spiritual activities, or the other way around. To the proportion we are increasing spiritual activities, we should start decreasing material activities. And then only material thoughts will stop. When his intelligence and mind were fixed upon the form of the Lord, the Brahmana Ajamila once again saw before him four celestial persons. He could understand that they were those he had seen previously, and thus he offered them his obeisances by bowing down before them. So he achieved perfection. The Vishnu Dutas who had rescued Ajamila came before him again when his mind was firmly fixed upon the form of the Lord. Vishnu Dutas had gone away for some time to give Ajamila a chance to become firmly fixed in meditation upon the Lord. Now that his devotion had matured, they returned to take him. Understanding that the same Vishnu Dutas had returned, Ajamila offered them his obeisances by bowing down before them. Upon seeing the Vishnu Dutas, Ajamila gave up his material body at Hardwar on the bank of the Ganges. He regained his own original spiritual body, which was a body appropriate for an associate of Lord. Hmm. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. The result of perfection in Krishna consciousness is that after giving up one's material body, one is immediately transferred to the spiritual world in one's spiritual body to become an associate of the Supreme Person of Godhead. But we should remember this is for that Parinishtita, who did devotion in such a way throughout his life that he doesn't have to come back again. He doesn't have any material desires for such persons. Some devotees go to Vaikuntha and others go to Goloka Vrindavana. Accompanied by the order carriers of Lord Vishnu, Ajamila boarded an airplane made of gold. Passing through the airways, he went directly to the abode of Lord Vishnu. And of course, he wanted to go to abode of Lord Vishnu because he was taking the name Narayana, so he went there. It said that actually, if we are going to Vishnu Loka, there is a very clear process, and then there is a particular Vishnu Duta who is actually responsible for taking jivas from here to the Vishnu Loka. But those who desire to go to Goloka, it said Krishna himself comes to take him. So it's so glorious to be able to achieve Goloka. For many years, material scientists have tried to go to the moon, but they are still unable to go there. However, spiritual airplanes from the spiritual planets can take one back home back to Godhead in a second. The speed of such a spiritual plane can only be imagined. Spirit is finer than the mind, and everyone has experience of how swiftly the mind travels. Therefore, one can imagine the swiftness of the spiritual form by comparing it to the speed of the mind. In less than even a moment, a perfect devotee can return home back to Godhead immediately after giving up his material body. Ajamila was a Brahmana who, because of bad association, had given up all Brahminical culture and religious principles. Becoming most fallen, he stole, drank, and performed other abominable acts. He even kept a prostitute. Thus, he was destined to be carried away to hell by the order carriers of Yamaraj. But he was immediately rescued simply by a glimpse of the chanting of the holy name, Narayana. Mm. A glimpse. This was bhasa, abhasa. Therefore, one who desires freedom from material bondage should adopt the process of chanting and glorifying the name, fame, form, and pastimes of the Lord, at whose feet all holy places stand. One cannot derive the proper benefit from other methods such as pious atonement, speculative knowledge, and meditation in mystic yoga. Because even after following such methods, one takes to fruitive activities again, unable to control his mind, which is contaminated by the base qualities of nature, namely passion and ignorance. It's actually been seen that even after achieving so-called perfection, many karmis, gnanis, and yogis become attached to material activities again. Many so-called swamis and yogis give up material activities as false, but after some time they nevertheless resume material activities by opening hospitals, schools, or performing other activities for the benefit of the public. See, please remember, this is not our job to do this. Sometimes they participate in politics, although still falsely declaring themselves sannyasis. Perfect conclusion, however, is that if one actually desires to get out of the material world, he must take to devotional service, which begins with Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. The Krishna consciousness movement has actually proved this. In the Western countries, many young boys who are addicted to drugs and who had many other bad habits, which they could not give up, abandoned all those propensities and very seriously engaged in chanting of the glories of the Lord as soon as they joined Hare Krishna movement. And that was the unimaginable influence of Srila Prabhupada's association. In other words, this process is the perfect method of atonement for actions performed in Rajas and Tamas. As he advances in devotional life, all his doubts are completely eradicated. So, yeah, the result of Raja and Tama, one becomes increasingly lusty and greedy. But when one takes to the process of chanting and hearing, one comes to the platform of goodness and becomes happy. Because this very confidential historical narration has the potency to vanquish all sinful reactions. One who hears or describes it with faith and devotion is no longer doomed to hellish life. At least one thing we are very clear that after hearing this, we are not going to go to hell. Regardless of his having a material body and regardless of how sinful he may have been. Indeed, the Yamadutas who carry out the orders of Yamaraj do not approach him even to see him. This is the Falashruti. After giving up his body, he returns back home, back to Godhead, where he is very respectfully received and worshipped. Look at this. Uh, it has the potency to vanquish all sinful reactions. One who hears and or describes it with faith and devotion can even go back to Krishna. Meaning, this can be the turning point in our life. So amazing. Yeah, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is also saying he goes back to Godhead. So all of those devotees here who have heard this with faith and devotion, irrespective of whatever position was before we started this series of classes, now we are not going to go to hellish life. It's going to destroy all our sinful reactions, and eventually we'll go back to Krishna. Happy birthday. This is what we require, real birth. While suffering at the time of death, Ajamila chanted the holy name of the Lord, and all the chanting was directed towards his son. He nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? So Ajamila did not chant with any faith or anything, no affection, nothing, right? He just, of course, offenselessly he chanted. But if we chant faithfully, if we have, some affection towards the Lord's name, just imagine where we will go. At the time of his death, one is certainly bewildered because of his bodily functions are in disorder. At that time, even one who throughout his life has practiced chanting may not be able to chant the Hare Krishna very distinctly. Nevertheless, such a person receives all the benefits of chanting the holy name. While the body is fit, therefore, why should we not chant the holy name loudly and distinctly? If one does so, it is quite possible that even at the time of death, he will be properly able to chant the holy name of the Lord with love and faith. In conclusion, one who chants the holy name of the Lord constantly is guaranteed to return back home, back to Godhead without a doubt. Constantly. This is real. So Prabhupada has given a supplementary note to this chapter, which is the commentary in the texts 9 and 10, which we went through very elaborately. But we can also read this because this will have Prabhupada's. He is presenting his understanding. So his realization. So it will be more effective for us. So we can read this at our when we have time. Let me see if there is anything we have missed here. See, although he was calling for his son, the name itself was powerful because the name Narayana is not different from the Supreme Lord Narayana. When Ajamila named his son Narayana, all the reactions of his sinful life were neutralized. And as he continued calling his son and thus chanting the holy name of Narayana thousands of times, he was actually unconsciously advancing. The important part was that there was no offense. Now, okay, Prabhupada is giving some insight here. Since he was constantly chanting the name of Narayana, how was it possible for him to be associating with a prostitute and thinking of wine? By sinful actions, he was bringing suffering upon himself again and again, and therefore one may say that his ultimate chanting of Narayana was the cause of being freed. And however, his chanting would then have been a nama aparada, namno baladhyasya papa buddhi. One who continues to act sinfully and tries to neutralize his sins by chanting the holy name of the Lord is a nama aparadi. In response, it may be said that Ajamila's chanting was inoffensive because he did not chant the name of Narayana with the purpose of counteracting his sins. He did not know that he was addicted to sinful actions, nor did he know that his chanting of the name Narayana was neutralizing them. Thus, he did not commit a nama aprada, and his repeated chanting of the holy name while calling his son may be called pure chanting. Because of his pure chanting, Ajamila unconsciously accumulated the results of bhakti. So anyway, so Prabhupada is saying basically he did not chant offensively, so that chanting actually helped him. If a devotee chants the holy name even once inoffensively, this protects him eternally. He need only wait for the results of the chanting to mature in due course of time. So we have to simply wait. The reactions did not affect him. So, yeah, similar. Ajamila's devotional service grew little by little, and therefore, although he committed very sinful acts, the reactions did not affect him. But we should not continue. I mean, he was doing it unknowingly, but we should not do it knowingly. That is the whole point. Unknowingly, if somebody is engaged in some sinful activity and is chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, he will get purified, and his sins that he did unknowingly will not cause any effect, will not affect him. But if we are knowing that this is sins, these are not, we should not do it. If we are engaging, then we are in trouble. Then that is nama parada, and then we are going to suffer. Right? So if we know something is wrong, we better not do it and continue chanting. Okay. I think we'll stop here. Sorry for going over time because I wanted to finish this chapter. And yeah, because from tomorrow till 30th, we will not have class because I'm traveling. So I'll message on the group when we will resume our classes. Okay, so we'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, you can please ask. Okay, we'll close here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna Prabhuji pranam to everybody.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Pranam everyone.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji pranam.
Hare Krishna pranams to everybody.
Hare Krishna Prabhu pranam.
Hare Krishna, I'm disconnecting.